8:01. It is Monday, June 6th. I'm first morning meteorologist Eric Burst. This is Coffee Talk. We get together 7 days a week, chat about what's going on in the world of weather. Hopefully getting your day started off updated, educated, and what is another E-ish sounding word for positive? Energetic? Energated? No, because that has jaded, and that's what we all are. That's what Coffee Talks to try and help. Anyway, top two things we're watching this morning. Shouldn't be a surprise. First off, we are still watching Alex, just north of Bermuda as we speak. Although it's windy there, there's not much in the way of stormy weather. Alex continues to be a heavily sheared tropical storm, although Alex has been getting stronger, interestingly enough. We're going to be talking all about the storm system. Plus, summer's heat is building. You ready to go to the beach? You ready to go to the pool? I think you're going to want to do that over the next couple of days. So we're going to be here for all of that. But first, look at that beautiful start to the day on our Tower Cam network. This is Coco. We're looking over the river there, right near the 528 Causeway. It's gorgeous. The sun is shimmering. It is absolutely beautiful. How are you this morning? I hope you're doing well. Temperature-wise, and we're scrolling the temps on the bottom of the screen, but we've got you covered here as well. Temperatures are looking good. 78 in Orlando. We're sitting at about 79 degrees in Melbourne, 77 degrees New Smyrna Beach, 80 degrees Daytona Beach, and about 77 in Palm Coast. So it is beautiful. A peek inside our first morning live Doppler radar. Happy to say we're also not tracking anything whatsoever. Oh, no, you know what? There is a little something there. Let's zoom into it, shall we? I see it there in Flagler County. Give me a second. Move the mouse over here, do that. Right? Do my eyes see? No, Marineland. It is raining for you. Look at that. Found the one little shower up near Marineland, kind of hanging out near Sea Colony Drive. I'll be working down toward the Belterre Parkway and into Palm Coast. So, yeah, there is a little bit of rain on the radar. Generally, though, it's going to be a really nice, mostly dry forecast for us this morning, though we do know that the rain chances are going to be on the rise later this afternoon. The showers, the thunder showers, the whole kit and caboodle. So, yeah, be ready for it. Jessica says, hopefully you finally got some sleep last night. Yeah, I fell asleep last night and there was no waking me. Seriously. There was no going back. About 10 o'clock or so, I was donezo. I was done. But thank you. Yeah, look, you know, we're here. We work during the tropical stuff. Eric, good morning to you. Debbie, good morning. John, Connie, how are ya? Hope y'all are doing well. Forecast for today. Shall we talk about it? Let's do it. First off, we're starting off nicely across Central Florida. Important to know that there, yes, are a few showers, but where does our forecast take us? Let's take a look, shall we? Through the day today, 85 degrees 11 o'clock, 88 degrees by 1 p.m., and we're going to top off at about 92. Do notice by about 3, 4, 5 p.m., we are going to be getting into more and more showers and thunder showers. It's a 60% coverage of rain. Had a decent coverage yesterday, but we're definitely getting more for tomorrow, for this afternoon. So be ready for it. Love the child's voice, Janice says. My little Alexander, my little buddy. All right, what about temperatures neighborhood by neighborhood? Let's take a look, shall we? There we go. 92 in Orlando. Yes, that is going to be above average for you. 93 degrees in Kissimmee, 93 degrees in St. Cloud, about 88 degrees in Melbourne, 90 degrees in Palm Bay. So, yeah, it's going to be a nice and warm forecast for us. As you make your plans today, all I would say is just plan for a summer's day. It's going to be nice. It's going to be toasty. Here's a look at Futurecast, 8 o'clock this morning. Obviously, most of the rain is going to be north of us. By lunchtime, we're popcorning up a few showers. Not too bad. Let's continue through the afternoon. By about 2:30, you can see already the rain's beginning. A decent little coverage of showers and storms, if I may be so bold. But again, we're going with that, knowing that we have the higher 60% coverage of rain today. 3:30. Here's 4 o'clock. Same kind of idea. Widely scattered showers and thunder showers around town. And then into tonight, notice what happens. The rain coverage kind of works its way back off toward the east and begins to fade just a little bit. There's 6 p.m., still some heavier pockets over Brevard, but weaker stuff across the Orlando metro area. By 7, 8 o'clock, we're getting towards sunset, and I think that the stormy weather gradually is fading. but we're still watching the light rains around. So it's going to be a relatively active afternoon. Just plan accordingly, and you're going to be good to go, okay? Muggy meter, by the way, it doesn't take a meteorologist to point this out, but we are back to that humid setup. We did have a little bit of a drop in the mugginess yesterday. That's basically done and over with, though. We're back to the full-on humidity here today, so good times. Good times. Rained last night in Kissimmee, lasted for a while. Love that. Janice, good morning to you. Tina, good morning to you. Only a slight shower yesterday here in the Seminole State Forest. Need more rain. Well, we've definitely got more in the forecast this afternoon and this evening. All of that fun stuff. Yeah. Get to watch Coffee Talk live all week. Found out oh, no, Joanne, I'm sorry. Feel better, my dear. Feel better. David, good morning. Yesenia, good morning. Is the GFS trying to give us another Pacific crossover? We're going to take a look at the tropics for sure in just a couple of minutes. Can you provide any information 7:25 to 7:30? I'm going on a cruise to Labadee, Haiti in the Bahamas. Ah, yes, Debbie. Well, we'll take a look at the long-range calendar coming up in just a little bit as well. Here is a virtual cup of coffee and a donut. Janice, I'll take it. Good morning to you. Let's see here, trying to catch up with all the comments. Susie, good morning to you. Seeing Eric on there, the other Eric. Glad to see the other Eric as well. Crystal, good morning. Christina over on YouTube, good morning. Hey, how are you? Rose on YouTube, good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. Rain missed us here in Ocala. We talked about it, though. We knew that it was going to be feast or famine. You were either going to get a whole lot of rain or a whole lot of nada. Southern Brevard got a whole lot of rain. The rest of us basically got a whole lot of nada. And that's what we were saying. I remember saying on TV, like mid last week, I used the term nothing burger, and I know that I even used it on Coffee Talk. Like, that's the way these tropical systems go. Look at how sheared apart Tropical Storm Alex is. All of the cloud cover, all of the convection is on the northeast side of the system, right? So as it continues to work off toward the east-northeast, that's where all of that stuff is staying. It's all sheared off to the east and the northeast. That's just where we're at. Yeah. Tina, good morning to you. Your coffee group is growing. Yeah, well, during hurricane season, we definitely get a lot more people. So there's the positioning on Tropical Storm Alex, by the way. Did get the 8 a.m. intermediate advisory. Winds are at 65 miles an hour, racing to the east-northeast at 28. It's getting picked up in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere. It is rolling, and as it continues to, it will weaken in the North Atlantic cooler waters. Yeah. Joanne, I'm glad to have you here, even if you're not feeling well. Sorry about that. I know we aren't to this part yet today, but the other day when you spoke about the end of June, I got concerned because I fly June 29th to New York. Is the stormy weather running until then? Well, we'll take a look. We're going to look again at the BSR, just check and see how it's doing, and yeah, look long range, because there is some stuff late June that I want to make sure you know about. So keep that in mind, okay? All right, that all said, the forecast cone for Alex weakens just because it continues into the cooler waters of the North Atlantic. Here's the forecast cone. Later today, expected to become a non-tropical low and then continue to weaken as it kind of runs abeam Nova Scotia. So no big deal. Alex will be done and over with, and then we get to move on through the hurricane names list, which is so fun. The next name on the list, by the way, would be Bonnie. Okay? Interesting little tidbit. Yesterday, the seasonal European model came out. Of course, I didn't turn this around. Let me see if I can find it for you real fast. The seasonal European model came out, and it pointed to the most active hurricane forecast it has ever produced. Let me see if I can find this. No, hold on. I'll find this. Let's see here. Oh, here it is. Okay. Here it is. Okay. So what I thought was particularly interesting, it's calling for the most active hurricane season on record. We'll see how that plays out. But these are kind of the hot spots that the European model had indicated for the activity this year. And I want you to notice, if you look, Florida, the Carolinas, and even kind of like the New England Northeast area. So the European seasonal stuff is saying it's going to be an active year, but it's also kind of pointing to the hot spots that we outlined in our WESH 2 2022 hurricane season forecast, which is pretty impressive. We'll see how it all plays out. Remember, all of this stuff is just forecasting. Forecasting is only one part of the puzzle. You kind of have to wait for things to play out. Yeah. Mickey, so I'm curious, are you adding the Alex part of the pattern to the LRC now? I don't think so. I think I may make a mention on the monthly calendar, but this was its stronger cycle, and it didn't develop over us. So I think on the calendar, on the monthly calendar, I may write like Alex recycle question mark, but I'm not going to put it in as a full-on part of the pattern. It didn't develop. It was sheared apart, which would tell me that the next time it tries to loop, it will be a lesser system, and it will still have that kind of sheared environment. So, you know, it's something. It's definitely a new thing. This year is thrown a little bit of a curveball with that, but the data was there. It just didn't show up bold. So when it recycles, I don't think that it's going to be all that bold either. So, yeah, that's definitely something interesting enough. All right, so that said then, let's look at the forecast. And just a reminder, if you're new here, we do a long-range forecast. Stand by, let me pull it up. Hold on. We do a long-range forecast. It's available, the full read is available on wesh.com/hurricane forecast. And on that article, by the way, is the full coffee talk from that day where Jeremy Nelson and I, for 45 minutes, discussed the thing. Okay. That said, how do we forecast months and months ahead of time? Here's the idea. We look for weather patterns during the month of October and during the month of November, and we watch them recycle over and over and over again. That gives us an idea of the big players in the pattern. And this is all based on what's called the LRC, which dictates that in October and November, these patterns set up, and then they loop over and over and over again. There are subtle changes, but they loop over and over and over again. That said, we have put together not only our forecast, but there's a lot to our forecast. So here's the seasonal forecast. The hot spots that we are calling for this year, Florida being number 1, and coastal Carolinas being number 2, with kind of areas of interest added around Texas, Louisiana with lowered threats, and then into kind of the northeast New England with lowered threats. So there's areas of interest, but the big hotspots are going to be Florida and the coastal Carolinas, okay? We issued that March 1st. March, what is that, January, February, March, April, May, June. So 3 months, 5 days ago. 3 months, 5 days ago, we put out our hurricane season forecast, okay? Even if Alex had formed, it hit the hot spot. You know, we kind of look at broad strokes on this. But when we look at June as a whole, okay, this is the calendar. Now, the watching Texas and Louisiana thing, that was a weaker version of that, so it's not really looking like that's happening, which is fine. It's just, you know, that even on its stronger cycles, it's not much of a reflection, so it's not a huge player. But notice the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th. That part of the weather pattern actually looks to be pretty active. And in addition to the weather pattern being pretty active, the 24th, 25th, 26th is a kind of a peak version of that Florida threat. So that peak version of the Florida threat is the October 11th part of the pattern, where a storm system kind of developed in the Bahamas and lifted to the north. So late June is really when we're watching that. But its peak part of the pattern, of course, is for us the 24th, 25th, and 26th. Now, if we use, so that's on the LRC. This is a little far out, obviously, for computer models to indicate, but what we can do is we can use another long-range forecasting technique called the BSR, and what the BSR does is the BSR allows us to kind of look ahead about 2 weeks using what's called a teleconnection. The BSR stands for the Bering Strait Rule or the Bering Sea Rule, and the idea is you see what's happening up there, right? And what's happening up there gives you indications on what would be happening down here. Hey, buddy.
Daddy,
yeah.
this is my squirter.
That's your squirter?
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
What it looks like.
It's what it looks like?
Yeah.
So give me 2 seconds to get the BSR kind of turned around. Okay, so perfect. All right, let me get this popped up for you. So with that said, the BSR, let me turn that on. The BSR, this is the BSR. Let me get the exact date here so that I'm right on it. So this is 12Z, June 6th, so that would be... That's the 23rd, so that's June 23rd. Look in the Gulf of Mexico. Okay, that's the evening of June 23rd. That's June 24th. Okay? Evening of June 24th, June 25th. So the reason I'm pointing this out is you can very clearly see there is a storm system over Florida right in the time frame that we had called for, okay? Now the BSR, again, this is a teleconnection, so you have to take it as a vague idea of what's to come, but its teleconnection is still showing a storm system over the Florida Peninsula. Okay, so that lines up directly with our June calendar of 24th, 25th, 26th, watching Florida. Okay, I mentioned this yesterday, but there weren't a ton of people that were watching yesterday. Sundays are always a bit of a quieter day, which is cool. But the end of June, my friends, you know, like 20-ish days from now, we need to be watching. Okay? I know that it's like a lot of heads up knowledge, but if I'm telling you now that there's something that the the LRC and the BSR are indicating, that at least should tell you, like, okay, we don't know how strong it could be. We don't even know if it could be a thing, but there are 2 indicators now showing. So maybe we just start thinking about it. Do I have my hurricane kit? Do I have all of my hurricane supplies? How do we look for all of that, right? I love watching and learning, Joanne says. Well, thank you. I love hanging out with all of y'all, so I appreciate it. We all want a mug. This isn't a coffee talk mug, although this is a great mug. This is my spirit animal. This may be my favorite mug that I don't have. I need to find this mug and buy this mug. Yeah. Debbie, what is the percentage rate of accuracy with the BSR? I haven't calculated it, but I would say that the BSR, like any other weather tool, is just a glimpse ahead. But when the LRC and the BSR line up, they're 2 totally different long-range methods. But when they line up directly, that tells me quite a bit. That tells me quite a bit when they line up directly, which is what's happening here. All right. Can you show what it's showing for June 22nd and 23rd for the Mid-Atlantic? Mike, it doesn't, it's kind of centered on the United States. It's hard for me to move that map because it took me so much work just to get it set up there correctly. So, I can't. I've got it kind of positioned over us. It's too hard to do it, so I apologize. Well, crap, waited 2 years for Supernatural Con, and now a storm is coming in that weekend. Well, Kimberly, we don't know what it is. Is it even, it's telling me that I need to have my antennas raised. I'm not canceling plans or anything like that. Taylor says that triggered the coffee talk mug talk. We've been talking about it for a few. Yes, I'm just running my mouth too much and missing all of the long range comments. I apologize. Yeah. Good morning. Can you show July's long-range outlook? We have vacation end of July and are traveling. Sure. So that's June. I would say that the BSR is now starting to show that 24th, 25th, 26th event. Could be nothing. Could be something. But have your antennas raised, okay? All right. So July. Let's chat about it. The northeastern United States, after or around Independence Day, we'll have to watch. But that 20th through the 21st, that is, I believe, the Florester. And that is the bigger, that's the bigger version of the Florester. Yeah, so July 20th and 21st, that's going to be another kind of Florida-ish threat. We need a symbol for the Coffee Talk mug. I've got a Coffee Talk logo. Did you know that? Our graphics department put one together for me. Let me find it. Hold on. Boy, the dogs. I know I have a Coffee Talk logo in here somewhere. Did I delete it? Here's the Coffee Talk logo. It's adorable, right? You see the little talk bubble? You see the talk bubble in the coffee cup? The graphics department built that for me. Isn't that fun? It's so nerdy. I love it. So yeah, there is a logo. There is a logo for it. I like it. Anyway, you get the idea though, right? So that's the idea on the long range stuff. I would say that late June for sure, kind of mid to late July for sure. Looking to August. When it comes to August, I would say that probably you can see that 10th and that 11th watching Texas, Louisiana. That's going to be a time frame where I think that one will peak a little bit. May see something around Texas, Louisiana. But that's also the time frame for Alex to recycle. So I may, around the 8th and the 9th, I may just put watching Alex recycle or something like that, watching Florida. I may make a mention of it. It's not a big indicator, but there's definitely something there. Not a big thing, but there's something there. But yeah, Maurice is asking, do you think that the Texas-Louisiana feature will appear in August? Yeah, but it was never big. Like, it was never big, and it was bigger than what became Alex. Okay, now Alex did not develop near us, so it's fine. That 10th and that 11th feature, if we look at the 10th and the 11th feature in August, if we look at, what is that? That is the November 27th repeat. So November 27th was interesting because its first version, look at the Gulf, look at the Texas, Louisiana kind of area, and you can see there's like moisture around, but there's nothing all that organized, right? So its first cycle was the dud. Look at February 1st. Like in February, to have a satellite image look like that is particularly interesting because that almost looks tropical, doesn't it? It almost has like that look. And for February, that's odd. What's interesting too, by the way, is you can kind of see that storm system over South Florida that became Alex. Actually, no, you can kind of see, look off the coast of the Carolinas. That's what became Alex, cycling around. That's what's fun about this is you can case study stuff. So that Texas-Louisiana feature there on February 1st is there. But look, I want to look, let's go back to the November 27th part. Yeah, and you can see that moisture pulling away from like Florida and the Carolinas. Look at it there because this is the backside of that. Yeah, anyway, it's just interesting stuff. It's just interesting to case study. But you can see that moisture pulling away from it's pulling away from Florida, and it's also bubbling up out over the open waters of the Atlantic. That was Alex there in February. So top right corner, that moisture was what became Alex this cycle. So anyway, enough of that. Enough nerd stuff. Love it. Oh, you guys like the logo? Adorable logo. I didn't make it, so I can't take credit for it. Taylor, I'm going to send a PM after Coffee Talk. I got questions. I hope I got answers. Should have put the logo in the corner of the screen. I love it, a talking bubble. You like the Coffee Talk logo? Isn't that funny? We need stickers for our cars. Oh my gosh. Mug proceeds go to Second Harvest. I need to at some point, I need to talk to the boss about doing something where we could raise money for, I think the American Red Cross would be a more in-line charity for what Coffee Talk is, just because it helps people in disasters, and obviously when it comes to hurricanes and all that stuff, disasters, I think that goes well. I need to talk to the boss about that, but I can't promise that they're going to be okay with it, because the one thing that we all don't want, we don't ever want to push you to ever buy anything, right? They pay my salary and I'm grateful for it. This is a public service and I'm grateful to do it, right? So, for what it's worth. We talked a lot about the tropics, but I do also want to make sure to chat about this week. It's going to be getting hot, my friends. High temperatures in the low to mid 90s. Not record heat, but like Thursday afternoon, 95 degrees in Orlando. So it's going to be a hot stretch of weather across central Florida. There are, by the way, rocket launches coming up, so can't forget about that. The Nilesat Falcon 9 going up, 80% chance of good weather for Wednesday afternoon. Oh, how I wish I could go to that. Yeah, so anyway. Have Starbucks sponsor. Becky says we are volunteering to buy. But you know, there's a slippery slope, and I hope you can appreciate this. There's a slippery slope between us hanging out and chatting about the weather and me not, there's going to be commercials everywhere on the planet, but it's a slippery slope between, putting a sponsor in, for example. Like the 7-day forecast, this is the way that I show it most of the time if I click the right button. But on TV, look at the top right corner. The TV version of the 7-day, of course, we're in a cut-in. There's plenty of graphics that have sponsors. It's business, right? We are a for-profit television station, so there is an element of that. Case in point, here's a look at the cone that we air on WESH 2. It's got a sponsor. On Coffee Talk, though, that's not the version of the cone that I show you. Did you know that? You probably never noticed that. You probably see those sponsors and you don't even think about it. That's the version that we show on TV. This is the version of the cone that I show you on Coffee Talk. Yeah. No sponsor here. I don't, there are, look, sometimes I'm going to click the wrong button or whatever, and it is what it is. But it's one thing to show a sponsor. It's another thing for me to say, spend your money. Right? So I know that the bosses have always been uneasy about that sort of thing, and I as long as I just don't ever want to put you into a position where you feel like you have to spend your money, because I want to be here as a service for you. I'm on vacation this week. No working here, yo. I'm on vacation. So I'm not doing this for pay. I got a vacation day. Today, tomorrow, the next couple of days, I'm on vacation. Becky says someone will always complain. Well, right. That's it. We would love to be able to identify each other with stickers on our cars and nerd out. That's funny. That's funny. Just a subtle little coffee cup with the deal. Yeah. Oh, Nikki, you're on Starlink. We have a unit outside that actually moves to stay connected to the satellites. Nikki, I may have to ask you about that sometime. I would love to get Starlink for the weather lab. That's something that I'm actually pushing for. Debbie says Red Cross is okay, Eric, but what about charity in the viewing area? Wouldn't it be better? You do know that the American Red Cross is very active in our viewing area, right? They have an office off of Bumby, and they help people that go through disasters all the time. It doesn't have to be a massive hurricane disaster. It could be a house fire. It could be something to that effect. Now, I have been on the board for the American Red Cross for years, but I would say that the American Red Cross does a lot of good in our community. And I think that the Red Cross goes more in line with what Coffee Talk is about. Certainly, food pantries and shelters need it, but I just think if we're doing something, it needs to be kind of in that wheelhouse. I don't put stickers on my car, but would love a mug. I'll have to make a Coffee Talk logo magnet so I can put it on my car. Thank you, Mike. You too, though, buddy. You're doing it all day and all night, man. I'm just trying to keep up with you. How about car magnets instead of stick? Oh, yeah. I don't know. I'll talk to the boss. If it's something she's comfortable with, then that's that. But I don't. The thing that I don't ever want to do, because they employ me, right? I don't ever want to go against their wishes, and I don't ever want. It's a big jump to ask you for money, and I don't. That just makes me personally feel uncomfortable. I also don't like receiving gifts. If it makes you feel better, that makes me feel uncomfortable as well. So anyway, here we are, right? We're tracking a building heat bubble across Central Florida. Let's take a look, though. Somebody had asked about another Pacific crossover system. So let's take a look at the raw computer models here. Top right corner, you can see That little purple dot, that is Alex. This is the GFS model, by the way. So there's Alex. Okay, top left corner, GFS, quarter degree, initialized 6Z, yada, 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 mean sea level pressure, normalized anomaly. Yeah, so what we're looking at is pockets of higher pressure, pockets of lower pressure, that sort of thing. Okay? All right, let's roll through time, people. Right there, you can see bottom left corner. Of course, you can't even see it. Hold on, let me remove the ticker for a second. Very bottom left corner. You can kind of see a storm system trying to get its act together there in the Pacific. Cruising along. Now, some earlier models had tried to show... Oh, hold on. Some earlier models had tried to show that moving into Mexico and potentially being another crossover, but not really playing out. But look right there, the GFS, that is 200 hours out. You can see the GFS near the Yucatan Peninsula trying to fire up another little piece of vorticity, another little piece of energy over the Yucatan. And then another, and then another. It's like another, and then you get a low, and you get a low, and you get a low. GFS is feisty. Right? That's 378 hours out, yet another little storm system heading toward Mexico. Yeah, so GFS, whew, aren't you so much fun? Let's look at the European model together, shall we? All right, so there's Alex, top right corner. This is the 6Z, the most recent run. There goes Alex. Now the 6Z only goes out 90 hours, so once we get to 90, I will have to change over to another run. Why am I also showing only the Caribbean and not the entire Atlantic Basin? This time of year, the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean, this little view is basically where stuff happens. So we don't need to widen the view. This is basically the area of interest this time of year. Okay, so there's that. Let's switch over from the 6Z to the 0Z, and we'll go a little further out. Little storm system coming off the coast of the Carolinas. We'll have to watch that. Notice once we get out to 200 hours, the European is not picking up on all of that vorticity down in the Caribbean like the GFS was. All right, and that's it. That's as far as the Euro goes out. We can switch over to the control ensemble to go a little further, which I always like to do. It just gives us a clue to what the rest of the European is kind of hinting at. There you go, though, bottom left corner. You can kind of see, of course you can't. You can't really even see it. Let me do this. The European trying to hint at something over in the Pacific. You can kind of see in the bottom left corner there. Here. Boy, my professionalism here is just going out the window, isn't it? There you go. Little blue dot. Something. And then that's it. Yeah. So it's trying to sniff out some vorticity, some spin there toward the end of it. That end of it would be, the 21st of June. Again, I would just say, looking at the BSR, just looking at the BSR, there's something there around the 24th, 25th, 26th-ish. That's something we're going to have to watch. That's still a little outside of the realm of the models. But there's something there that we're going to have to watch, okay? Any questions, any comments, any concerns, people? Anything. I'm here to chat. Now's your chance. Thanks so much for Coffee Talk. Those of us north of the border follow you for vacation forecast. Pat, glad to have you here. Appreciate it. Sinosaurus and Castleberry, they're not far from me. Car stickers, maybe I could use my daughter to make them. She does that on Etsy, and she can do it as charity. All proceeds to the charity. Ay vey, you guys and gals. Kelly says, I don't give you a choice when I bring you coffee. I just show up with it and say, here you go, and then walk away. Oh, man. Have I considered storm chasing like Mike's weather page? I would love to. The problem is if there's a storm, this place wants me in the office. I would love to be like Mike, where I can go and do that stuff. I really would. If the season turns out hyperactive like some sources say, but landfall still occurs in the hotspots, would you still consider your LRC forecast a success? Well, we'll see how this plays out, right? I mean, hotspots are the main part of the forecast. Kind of like Phil Klotzbach with Colorado State University when he issued his, and we had him live on Coffee Talk. he does the storm numbers. That's the highlight. But there's a lot more to his forecast. For me, the hot spots are the main part of the forecast. The dates, the activity, that's all kind of plays second fiddle to it. You know? Samir's, when do storms start coming off of Africa? Well, it breaks down in months. So here, let me show you. Let me show you how this plays out, okay? So for June, for example, here's the tropical activity for the month of June. Like I said, Gulf of Mexico, like Caribbean, that area, okay? That's June. Let's look at July. You start expanding out your envelope just a little bit, okay? So then you're starting to talk about maybe the Eastern Caribbean, maybe out toward the Atlantic, but once it gets to the Eastern Caribbean. Let's look at August. That's when we get into the feisty stuff. That's when, we open up the Atlantic for business. That's when it's all hands on deck, right? That's when Cabo Verde season really gets going. September. Come on, computer. You are lagging like a crazy today, aren't you? September, we know, is the peak of hurricane season. Okay? There's your September. October. Excuse the lagging on the computer. The October, notice you kind of start bringing stuff back close to home. And then November, as the water temperatures are starting to cool, you start bringing that tropical activity back closer to home. What are you right now? A Cerdober?
Yeah.
What's a Cerdober?
He has a technical and he places. He puts all of the different things side by side for each neighbor.
For each neighbor?
Yeah.
He's pushing a school bus around, but it has a tentacle. That's a terrifying world my son lives in, right? All right. Is Gary the L from LRC making an appearance on Coffee Talk soon? Yes. Yes, he is. He told me that he was available last week, and then we never followed up with each other, so that's probably on me. Angela, Eric and Mike's weather page should team up sometime. Mike and I chat. I saw him comment earlier, so he was here hanging with us. Nice guy, man. You know? I'm all on board. So we can keep score between the Euro and the GFS to see which is more accurate. You know, they're models. Computer models are guidance, not gospel. So just let it be. All right, people. Building heat across Central Florida. That's what we've got. Okay? Be the sunshine in someone else's day. Thank you. Here comes the school bus with the tentacle again. Be the sunshine in someone else's day. I will see you guys and gals at 3:30 for the afternoon coffee talk. And, of course, we'll be tracking the tropics throughout the next couple of months. Bye, y'all.